Welcome to Beyond the Brand, the podcast that takes you inside the world of franchising, brought to you by Business Alliance Incorporated. We're here to share real stories, expert insights, and strategies to help you navigate the franchise industry with confidence. Let's dive in.
All right, welcome in everyone. This is Heath Turner, and I want to thank you for joining our interview with the founder of our franchise partner, Sugar, Amy Blake. We'll be hearing the story of how the brand became what it is today, and also give you all a better insight into who they're looking for in their franchisees, their culture as a company, and hopefully you come away with this with a deeper understanding of the brand overall. And if there's any questions as we go along, feel free to type those into the chat or the Q&A, and we will be sure to get to those. But to kick things off, Amy, I just want to first thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. So
Perfect.
excited.
I'd just like to kick things off with a little bit of background on you. So, what was your career prior to starting your own company?
Sure. So I have both a marketing background. So I was definitely involved in sales and marketing for different just corporate America, medicine. I actually went back to school and decided that I wanted to work in the ER, and I was doing X-ray and CT imaging and things like that and honestly, I didn't realize that my histories and my backgrounds merged together to help me become the founder and owner of Sugar Sugar.
And so, how did that come about? What drove you into entrepreneurism and then even deeper into the beauty and esthetician field?
Yeah, first of all, a little bit of crazy, right? Because you just got to have that part. But
Mhm.
no, honestly, I felt that there was a need in the market. I'm a consumer too and a client, and I really was struggling to find hair removal solutions that were good for my skin. And
Mhm.
it took me a long time. Shaving, just what's the point? Waxing is honestly full of a lot of icky chemicals and can be quite detrimental to the skin. I had heard of sugaring, did a little bit of research, realized I wanted to give it a try. And this was, I'm going to age myself, but like over 20 years ago. And I found somebody doing it tucked away in the back of a hair salon, to be honest, in Washington State. And I went to her for almost 8 years. And I didn't think more about it other than I love this for me. This is such a great solution. So I went about my life. And then Sugar Sugar came about because my husband and I were on vacation in Arizona for a couple weeks, and I thought I will just get sugared there because this must be everywhere. And I Googled it in 2011, and Google provided absolutely no solutions. Yeah, so I was, okay, maybe I just missed something. And when I got back home, I Googled it again, thinking I had to have missed this. And I hadn't. And then I expanded my search nationally, and I could find it in little pockets, but it wasn't sort of 1,200 square feet brick and mortar sitting next to established brands. That wasn't the case at all. And so entrepreneur life, you sit down at the kitchen table and little by little you start piecing together this little dream or thought, and Sugar Sugar came too. And we opened in 2013.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't very mainstream at the time. So what were the biggest challenges for you guys to make your brand more mainstream, like finding the product and
Yeah.
finding the estheticians that were skilled in doing
Sure.
it?
Hurdles, to be honest with you. Our first thought, honestly, was location. I needed this to look like it had already been there, been established, that you were
Mhm.
the last person to realize this wasn't a thing. And so our first location in Scottsdale is actually sitting next to Elements Massage and Cox Communication and Nordstrom Rack. So we're in this lineup of brands that as a consumer, you would think, what Sugar Sugar, like what goodness. So
Yeah.
location was number one for us, and that hasn't changed as our growth continues. Education was probably the biggest hurdle because both clients and estheticians really hadn't learned or understood the benefits of sugaring. And so it was me doing a lot of talking and a lot of demos. And I've probably said the word sugar more times in my lifetime than like 10 people combined would say the word sugar.
And you have to say it twice.
I do, and I had to say it twice. So it's a thing. But once the name hit though, it stuck. And so we trademarked it. But yeah, no, so those two things for sure, just the education, and that's still a hurdle. I truly believe that we've hit maybe the tip of the iceberg. Like we're at 10% as far as like people really understanding the benefits of sugar. And so yeah, we're up for the challenge though, because it is better for the consumer. Yeah.
And then in terms of yours and your husband's roles and responsibilities, what kind of hats were each of you wearing that made the business work?
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah, I'm the creative. I'm the energy. I'm that sort of driving force of excitement. And you're right, 10 people are doing it this way, but we're going to do it this way. And here are the reasons why. I'm really good at taking a room and talking to people and saying, this is the idea. My husband he's a CFO. So, he's really good at making sure the numbers make sense and that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed each other. And I think too, we are married, which in any working relationship is going to present its own problems, right?
Yeah.
But the good thing is that if he may be coming at it from one direction and I might be coming at it from a different, but our goals are always aligned for the company. And that's a really positive. Yeah.
Excellent. And in terms of getting the name out there, what was the marketing strategy to first get customers in the door, and what did you find worked best?
Yeah, word of mouth. You just go back to the basics. We've had to shift gears. I think that's one of the changes that Sugar's had to make. At the beginning, I didn't open the concept of franchise. So that wasn't the intention. It was to fill a need in a market that I thought would do well.
Yeah.
And again, location, me standing outside, having conversation with people, being involved in every sort of community event or expo, things like that, did really well for Sugar at the beginning. And it put us on the map fast. Within 8 months of us opening, we broke even. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it just kept going up from there. So now, obviously, you have to shift gears and you do have to explore digital marketing and make sure that we're hitting a lot more people faster, because now we have franchisees that are counting on growth and they don't want to stand outside with a ball of sugar in their hand every day. And we get that. So we actually just brought on a wonderful marketing firm that has experience with franchise concepts. So we're excited to be a part of their network. Yeah.
So how long were you running it independently before franchising came to mind?
Yeah, good question. So franchise spoke to us. We did Scottsdale and worked it every day. That was my job. And then we opened up Phoenix. And what was happening is, especially because our North Scottsdale location, a lot of people come here to vacation. It's great during winter and spring. And so people were coming down, having a service, and then flying home to Chicago or flying home to Miami and then Googling us and not being able to find it. Little by little, we started getting calls or emails saying, hey, I was just there. And are you guys in? Am I missing it? Are you guys coming to Miami? And at first you think that's such a nice compliment.
Yeah.
That's really sweet of them. And then you start to think, gosh, maybe this is something we can scale. And so back to the drawing board, and little by little, we started learning what we needed to learn to grow Sugar on a national scale, knew where the holes were if we were going to do this nationally, and got to work. So yeah, so I would say 5 years in, we really looked. We've been in business 11.
And when you were looking for those first few franchisees, or they were looking for you, it happened pretty organically, it sounds. What traits were you looking for in them? Were you trying it to emanate yourselves and what it would take to be a successful owner?
Yeah.
How did you draw that profile out early on?
I think the best sort of person for Sugar, they have to love beauty. They have to love clean beauty, because we've been that way from the beginning, which is a fun fact about Sugar. We're not playing catch up like a lot of other companies. We open this way. And so I think they have to have a passion for that. Hardworking. We're not looking for an absentee franchisee right now. I think wanting to be involved and being present is a good thing for the brand. Someone who's forward thinking, I think, is a good quality that we look for,
Yeah.
just because we are different. There's not that many sugaring companies, especially when we started, there was none, but there's been a few more players now. But it is something that you have to say, okay, I see where the industry has been and I really understand where it's going. And I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Those are my people. When I hear them speaking that way, I always gravitate towards them. And I think the last thing is, honestly, it's silly, but I love label readers. It's one of those things. It started in the food industry where people started asking questions of what am I putting in my body? And it only
Yeah.
made sense that eventually they would start asking, okay, what am I putting on my body?
Yeah.
Those, I love people that flip it around and want to, read what's going on. That's who I am.
Yeah. I think that's becoming more and more common, especially younger generations, I think are a lot more conscious of that.
Agreed.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then for you as a new franchisor, what was the biggest learning curve from just being an owner operator to giving your baby basically to someone else and hoping they do well with it? What was the
Yeah.
like main things you struggled with?
Still feels like my baby. That's probably not the best thing to say, but it is. I think that just like when you open a brick and mortar, you get better and better at coaching and motivating and teaching your staff. And so I took that knowledge and I was able to put that towards my franchisees. The challenging part is that they're all so different. They each have different learning styles. They're motivated by different things. So understanding that has really, I think, having that grasp of the brick and mortar has really been a benefit towards my franchisees, where I can shift gears and help them grow and speak to them knowing that, okay, this is how this person thinks and operates. I've gotten a lot faster at reading people. And I think that's been one of the benefits. I think another thing that has been helpful is I've done it. I didn't open this to franchise.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to get up and work the front desk for a year and a half straight because I did it.
Yeah.
I don't expect that of our franchisees, and we have systems in place now to make sure they don't have to do that. But at the time and now for them, I think it's such a benefit because I know that grind. I know what it feels like. Yeah, both of those.
And has what you're looking for in an owner, has that kind of evolved at all over the last couple of years after organic growth and now having leads come in? It might be investigating other concepts or more the multi-unit investor types. Do you see any kind of change there yet?
I wouldn't say I see a change. I feel like the basics are always probably going to be there for me. I feel like anything I've learned from the sort of people that gravitated towards us right at the beginning. And to be honest, that person is still usually the candidate that we're talking to. So I feel like our brand is pretty black and white in the sense of what we're putting out there is being received by certain individuals, and they're the ones that are usually giving us a call. Like we don't have, like right now, we haven't had anybody call that says, I just want to buy 50 and set it and forget it. That person hasn't come to us yet.
Yeah.
When ask me in a year, and then if that changes, I'll have more. But right now it is the same person. We have people that have moved that wanted to get away from the food industry.
Yeah.
We have quite a few of those. It's looking for something different. A lot of nurses, educators, things like that. So that's usually who finds us.
Okay. And for our brokers that will be presenting this concept to their candidates, what are the key differentiators, in your opinion, from other hair and beauty franchises or even just other brick and mortar? What are some of the key selling points for Sugar Sugar you think they should highlight?
Yeah, I think number one, probably our culture. And I know a lot of companies want to lead with this, and I guess I'm going to do the same. But what's really special about sugar is all the things that honestly are free. When someone comes in, we always say, welcome to Sugar Sugar. As simple as walking someone to the bathroom and asking them how their day was. We have a policy where, because we service majority women, when a woman walks in, you don't want 3 or 4 women congregating at the front desk.
Yeah.
There's just little things that we have put into place from my experience as a consumer that now resonate throughout Sugar Sugar. So that's a big one. We want to make sure that those things that sadly in the service industry, I feel have gotten lost over the
Mhm.
years, are brought back because I think it makes a big difference. It's all about the client experience first and foremost. And if you hold on to that, you're gonna do well.
Mm.
The second thing that I think really makes us stand out is our education. Our education, as far as what we expect, not only for our incoming guests or employees here in all the brick and mortars, but our franchisees, I think is something that A, we're insanely proud of, but B, it's gonna separate us. We have Sugar University, which is basically an online education platform where we cover all of it. And there's quizzes and there's submitted videos so that we can see you're doing things right. Because one of the things we learned really quickly is it's one thing for me to run over to the Phoenix location from Scottsdale and say, how are you doing today? Show me
Mhm.
this, show me that. To do that from 1,200 miles away is a challenge.
Yeah.
So we needed to figure out how to make us a little bit smaller so
Mhm.
that we made sure that your experience, if you did go to my Scottsdale location, was going to be darn near close to what it's like if you showed up in St. John's.
Yeah.
That's been something that we have put a lot of resources and time, love, and energy into.
And then the difference in the service that's provided from a potential new franchisee's perspective compared to like lashes or a hair salon, what's the differentiator there in terms of the appeal to the customer, how often they come to get the service
Yeah,
done? How do those
sure.
stack up?
Sure. So we'll start with sugaring, right? Because we're called sugar, not tan or something like that. But so with sugaring, our hands down, our most popular service is bikini sugar. So we're doing Brazilian sugars all day long. Most of those clients are going to come back between 4 to 5 weeks. So we usually see them once a month. That's how our membership model is built as well. It is based on a monthly. And then we do spray tanning, which is something that they've come in weekly for. And then facials. We do organic vegan facials, which a lot of our clients, the facial industry is one that we're trying to be that company that's part of the push of it isn't something that you should just treat yourself to, that it's something that you want to think about and make a part of your beauty regime. You do it once a month at least, kind of thing, to see results. But sugar, we do 75% of the day. We're sugaring all day long. Followed by spray tan is usually around 18, 19%. And then the rest is filled with the facials and our brow science category, which is like tinting and things like that. Yeah.
And how big of a space is the typical location looking?
Yeah. The ideal space, I would say, is like 12 to 1,300 square feet. Scottsdale sitting in 1,600. I have a look, my Phoenix is in 900 and change. So
Okay.
we definitely have gotten really good at sort of making it work if the location is right as far as square footage. But normally the sweet spot is around 12 or 1,300.
Okay, great. And do you have any multi-unit owners currently?
We do. We do. Yeah, we have a gentleman out of Denver. We have a couple in Florida. Yeah, we have one that did by 20. We do have some multi. They're not open yet. They've just gotten their first one open, but obviously the goal is to get the others open as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And just because the industry and then the service that's being provided, do you prefer a female franchisee or at least a female involved in the ownership, like husband and
Yeah.
wife team?
Yeah. I don't prefer it. I think because of the business that we're in, it's sometimes nice to have a woman around. That can be a phenomenal manager too. So we've created different, I guess, approaches, if you will. If it is a gentleman, I mean, our owner in Highlands Ranch, it's him. He has a wife, but she does her own thing and he's phenomenal. And he's wonderful on the phone and he can talk about Brazilians all day long. And it is a-okay. And the
Yeah.
clients are him. So it's just it's more about, I think you look at it as an individual versus just we prefer. There have been a couple of gentlemen that after going through it with us, we thought, you know what, it may not be the right fit for him or for us, but we're always going to be the company that I don't want to be the company that has the most locations. It's just not how my team and I are designed. We definitely are in it for the most successful. And so if you're the right candidate, then that's check. That's the box that we're looking for.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
And I know I want to get to this, but the difference in the product now, we can dive into how much more friendly it is on your skin. So what's the difference between the product that you use in typical waxing salons?
Yeah. So we use sugar. I actually have a jar with me today. There
Oh,
she is.
wow.
Yeah, it is sugar, lemon, and water at its most basic. You could open this and you could eat it. It's 100% organic, vegan, clean. There isn't any chemicals in it at all. Wax, a lot of them have resins or they have fragrance or they're hot pink. So if you are putting those things on your body and removing the hair along with it, you're asking for a bit of a problem. Where sugar paste, it's actually the oldest form of hair removal. It dates back to 1900 BC, which is a fun fact. Yes, you apply this to your skin. You don't have to apply it hot, which as a franchise owner is great because it makes your liability a little bit less. There's no
Oh, yeah.
chance of, yeah. So there's no chance of burning your client. But yeah, you just grab a piece. Do you want to, I'm going to do a demo for you.
Okay.
Today's the day. We're all going to get sugared here. Oh, I'm going to get sugared. But so it doesn't go on hot. It's ours. So that's something that I think is insanely valuable for the franchisees. Everything we've done at Sugar Sugar has been to make Sugar Sugar a destination. How we sugar and the sugar that we use, proprietary and ours. The spray tan solution, even our skincare line. When we opened Sugar Sugar, we were using other people's skincare and we decided, you know what? They have every right to change an ingredient, compromise on the ingredients that they're choosing. They can change a price on a whim. And what was happening is we were buying these products, introducing it to our clients, and then they would have huge sales, right? And then our clients would say, oh my gosh, I stocked up. And so that was the end of that. We thought, no, we can do better. And so our entire skincare line is ours. We do not sell it on Amazon. And what it does, it creates a better margin for our franchisees. And they know that if I need to change something, that there's going to be a huge announcement across the board because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the sugar.
Okay.
So I just took it right out of that jar, and all you do is you just apply it to your skin. So there's no strips or muslin. So it's much more environmentally sound. Where with waxing, you would lay the strip at a piece of like cloth or muslin, and then you just rip it off and you throw all of that away. So this, you just add it to the skin and you just flick it off. And the unwanted hair comes right off with it.
Wow.
Doesn't hurt the way wax does because sugar doesn't have the ability to remove living skin cells like wax. And a fun fact that we like to talk about is this jar, our franchisees and we get this for 22. And as you should be able to generate anywhere from 12 to 16, $1,700 from one jar in services.
That's
as you continue to get better as a sugarist and with continued education from my team and I, that can go up past 2,000 per jar.
wow.
So we've really done a good job at making sure that this thing generates for the franchisees and their staff, because you keep a good staff by making sure that they're making a good wage.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And is there a certain level of certification that your employees need for this? Do they have to go to beauty school? What's the
Yes. So they do need to be estheticians, depending on the state. Some aesthetic schools, you can graduate in 3 or 4 months, some are 9 months to a year, but they definitely need the certificate of esthetician or cosmetologist as well. Once they enter our world, then they go through about 40 hours is where we have our training, where we teach them how to sugar. We make sure that they know how to spray tan our way, all those things. And it used to take us a lot longer. That's something that we've gotten much better at, is making sure that we can take an esthetician and in 40 hours, she can be sugaring in the room. Yeah.
Do you think from a franchisee's perspective, that's actually better that there's like a certification required? Does it create more reliable employees than if you were just pulling people off the street, in your opinion? You might have connections to those esthetician schools where they're graduating from.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, I do think that it makes the hiring process a little bit easier in the sense that these women and men have invested in their education and most will take it really seriously. They're looking to find a place that they can call their own and call home. Yeah. I do think that it makes it where if you were a burger joint or whatever. A lot of those kids are going to come and go. These women take this as this is a career. And at Sugar, we've designed it so that as you continue to become a level 1, a 2, a 3, that you are making a really great wage. If you put in the work, you're going to take home a great paycheck. We definitely, when we designed it, we wanted to make sure that these people were finding a place to want to stay for some time, because in my opinion, an employee just gets that much better and becomes more valuable for the company as they put in a year, 2 years. I have women that have been on the floor with me for almost 5.
Wow.
And for an aesthetic position, that's unheard of. There's usually a lot of movement in the beauty industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, this was amazing. Great conversation. I feel I learned a ton about Sugar that I didn't know before, probably more than most people know about sugar.
Yeah.
So I got a leg up there. And we did have a question come in.
Sure.
Can a stylist rent several suites in a salon suites location, or do you prefer just they're at the brick and mortar location?
Yeah, we do prefer the brick and mortar idea. I think the issue with, and they did say several, but we definitely like to have that front of house present. We like it all in one.
Uh,
I feel like it changes the culture a little bit. One of the things too about if it was just one salon suite, for me, it's really hard to grow the concept if it's you can only service so many clients. You
Yeah.
reach a cap. And so with this, I'm sitting in the Scottsdale location. We have 7 rooms here. So when the demand is there, we have the space without having to turn away a client. So no, we definitely have an idea as far as, yeah, as far as space and what the location would look like.
Okay, perfect. That's the question that came in. If anyone has any other last ones, type those in now. But Amy, what I like to do on these calls is if you went and put yourself in the shoes of a broker for a second, but you know everything you know about sugar, if you were going to present this concept to a candidate, the opportunity, what would be the things you would highlight, and what do you want to make sure brokers don't miss highlighting when they're presenting this to their candidates?
I may tap in Jerry on this because not only is she the
She's
VP of
got the
sales,
broker experience.
yeah, and she's a broker, but let's see. I think the cost is reasonable to come into. I think the cost to build out is fairly reasonable as well. Remember, each room doesn't need to have, unless you're in Jersey, you don't need to have a sink or things like that. So you just need a room with a bed and some shelving and you're good to go, proper lighting. I think one of the things that we get asked quite a bit when people come through is they're very concerned about keeping employees. So I think one of the great things about Sugar is that if you look at a lot of spa concepts, they're doing 2,500 different things. And when I looked at that, I thought, gosh, if I book 1009, like when's the last time somebody actually performed that service? That is not something that we wanted to become. So we've really niched ourselves out. And because we talked about retention as far as employees, I think since we have 4 categories and we are doing those all day long, it's not like a typical lash or wax concept in the sense that's all they're doing, because that can get really tedious.
Yeah.
So we're doing enough variety where the estheticians aren't bored, and we do retain them longer, because for whatever reason, when we talk to people, the hiring process is one that I think intimidates a lot of people, especially if they haven't done it before. So that's something that has been a benefit for Sugar. Jerry, what else you have, lady? I know you've got stuff.
I think you hit on a lot of it. The cost to build out and get started is amongst the lowest in this space. And when you're not talking salon suites or something like that, but to your point, it's really hard to scale when you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
And then I think that the culture and the vibe is second to none, really, in that space. I tell people that I'm talking to all the time, like, when you walk in, it's a super positive, upbeat culture. And I always get and they walk in and they're like, I love it in here. It's a really happy place. And a lot of these services are very intimate. And I think the way we advertise and the way we treat our people, our clients, is very professional and respectful and safe. I like to use the word safe.
Yeah. I had no idea about the user friendliness in terms of what it does to your skin. That's a huge differentiator to use all natural ingredients, because I think people are waking up to the beauty industry and all the bad stuff that's in these products that people use every day. That's my biggest takeaway. That's really great.
Good.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'm glad. Thanks, Jerry. You definitely now you're in it. So when you're in Arizona or in any of the states that we have a location, I'm treating you to a sugaring. So
Okay.
prepare yourself.
All right, that'd be new for me.
Okay.
And a question did come in, Luke. I think this got answered, but the time between treatments, you said they come in about once a month for
Yeah, once a month is pretty typical. If you're going to do like a brow or underarm, we'll probably see you every 3 weeks. The great part about sugaring is, at least for the client, it does tend to last a little bit longer than a traditional wax. So what we're finding, even by a week. So some people might be like, oh, but that's not good. We want to see clients more and more. But it's good in the sense of creating that loyalty. If a client sees the type of my skin didn't freak out for 24 hours post my wax.
Yeah.
And it lasts a little bit longer. Our loyalty and our retention of our clients is high. Once we get them away from wax and they start doing the sugaring, we keep clients. I actually had a conversation with one this morning who is moving to Europe, and she started with me 11 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they definitely don't go anywhere once we get them in and we communicate the benefits of it. So,
yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Amy. This was great. Thanks for sharing your story with us. We're really happy to have you as a franchise partner, and really looking forward to being part of your growth here in the new year coming up.
that sounds great. Thank you. Honestly, like I said, such an honor. I had fun. Jerry can vouch. I was a little nervous, but I'm excited I did it. And I hope that, if you or any of the other brokers have questions moving forward, like, we definitely have an open door policy. And so we love to answer them and hopefully find some great people in the new year. That would be fun for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that don't know, Jerry is a fellow BAI affiliate, and she helps out with development at Sugar. So she's your main point of contact. Easy line of communication there.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Amy. And Jerry, thanks for helping getting this set up. And thank you to the brokers that joined us today.
Thanks, Heath. Great job, Amy.
Thank you. All right. Y'all take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Beyond the Brand, brought to you by Business Alliance Incorporated. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe and stay connected for more insights on franchising success. Until next time.